So our speaker is very intelligent and she has a big bio, okay? But I'll try to cover up everything with this short time. So Ms. Kazi Naziba Tahsin is currently pursuing her PhD with a major in biomedical engineering at the University of Western Ontario in London, Ontario, Canada. She completed her master's at University of Guelph, Canada, and her graduate degree is in Tripoli from AIUB. She is collaboratively appointed as a researcher for Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry. She also serves as search for other institutes like Lawson Health Research Institute and St. Joseph Hospital. In her short span of career, she has published over 15 journal papers, including 9 as first author, and has been recognized for her recent publication in corona detection using nanotechnology. Apart from research, she is a committee member of IEEE London, Canada section and vice chair of IEEE Engineering in Medicine and Biology Society, London chapter. Also, she is on study leave as a lecturer in Independent University, Bangladesh. So I request ma'am to take the floor and start the webinar for everyone.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. And I would really like to thank IEEE Women in Engineering IUB Branch. And I would really like to thank Amirah for your wonderful introduction of me. And I would really like my mentors. I would like to thank my mentors for being here and listening to what I have said, what I'm going to say, like Dr. Kafil sir, Dr. Aminul Islam sir, and I hope Rajak sir is here. And another of my mentors, Dr. Sharia Khan sir. I have been following your footsteps, and I am here because of you guys. So I'd really like to thank you all for joining here with me. So today's webinar series starts with me. I'm a bit nervous. I don't know much about what to say, but it will be very casual. I'll just discuss about my journey and my impact as a researcher, what I have done, and what I have done for COVID-19. I would also discuss a little bit about that. So I hope you guys enjoy, and at least, if you have any questions, please forward me at the end of the session. There will be a question answer session at the end. So please be open to anything. I'm open to any sort of question, so let me know. So I would like to discuss a bit about myself. So my introduction has been given very brief, very elaborately. There's nothing else to discuss at the moment. But about myself, I have graduated from Tripoli, from AIUB, with a specialization in biomedical and bioinstrumentation in 2000, around a decade ago, let's say. And then after that, I went over for higher studies to complete my master's in the University of Guelph. And I had a specialization in biosensors and health monitors and biosensory networks. Later on, I came back in the middle. I joined IUB, that I'll discuss later. And after my career was well set in academia, I decided to do my PhD, which I'm doing currently at the moment in biomedical engineering at the University of Western Ontario. And my specialization at the moment is biomaterials and nanotechnology. So my career so far was after I had graduated from AIUB, I went to the industrial field. I joined as a biomedical engineer at United Hospitals in 2012. After that, I pursued my master's and served as a teaching assistant from 2013 to 2015. After I completed my master's, I came back. I decided I will not go back to industry. I will pursue a career in academia. That's when I joined a IUB as a lecturer, and that was in 2016. And I served IUB for 3 years, and now I'm currently on study leave at the moment. I'm still a family of IUB. So I am doing my PhD right now, and I'm serving as a research assistant in Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry, along with St. Joseph Hospitals and Lawson Research Health Institute. I am also collaborating as a teaching assistant in my department, for which is biomedical engineering, and this is so far my career in a small span. So when I how did I decide to become an academician, and how did I land in research? This is what I would like to share with you guys. I know a lot of people here are much better researchers and much better academicians. Most of you who are here have a better story to tell, have a longer story to tell. But I'm just sharing my small research career, and I hope you enjoy it. And so when I decided after my high school that I wanted to pursue a career in STEM, particularly engineering, I was in 2008. As you can see, this is the statistics of a particular graduate in engineering. This is the percentage of like people wanting to study in a STEM field. This is the percentage of the female wanting to study in a STEM field, and it is less than 3% in engineering fields, as you can see, and back then. So when I decided that I wanted to study engineering, it did not come like I am a minor. It came because of the fact that I grew up in a very STEM-oriented field. Like I grew up with my family, my grandfather, my father, my husband. They're all like engineers. So I grew up in a very engineering intensive environment. So for me, it was never like, I was never a minority. So I never thought that I might be a minority. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, the most important thing for a girl to want to study STEM is that her environment should be inspiring. And that is what I had. But there were times when many of my relatives told me that engineering was not a field for girls. Why not study management? Why not study arts? But like I said, I like challenges, and I wanted, like I said, I was inspired by my family, by my environment. So I went on to study engineering and a major in EEE in AIUB. So as you can see that the women in engineering has been increasing, but it's the least number of women in engineering. It's the least amount of girls in STEM, and engineering has the least amount, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen. So this was the trend in 2006. There were a lot of girls in biological science. There were a lot of girls in chemistry, maths, and atmospheric sciences, but there were very less girls in engineering. I remember being a first-year student going to a class of 40 students, where 2 of my friends were only girls, and the rest of the 38 students were all male. And I felt like, where have I landed? Did I choose the right career path? Is this the right place for me? But fortunately, the people that I mixed with, my peer members, my classmates, even though they were male, they were very encouraging. They never treated me as a female, inferior, or anything of that sort. I was treated as a human being, which really made me feel very comfortable. I was never treated like she's a girl, she can't do anything like this, or she's a girl, she can't do field work. She's a girl, she's not supposed to be in technology. I was never treated like this. I was treated like a normal, balanced human being trying to study like them. So later on, as I went, after I graduated, I went to the career field. Like I joined industry for 1 year in United Hospitals. I found out that women's representation in the STEM workforce is also uneven, and with certain STEM occupations are extremely male dominating, and engineering, especially triple E, was one of them. Like I barely saw any circulars that had the posting saying that only male applicants allowed. Believe me, today things have changed. You cannot do this sort of posting or a circular or a job vacancy posting like this today. But this was the scenario 10 years ago. A lot of the jobs that I applied to had cancelled me just because I was female. I could not do night shift. I could not do field work. This is why I had stopped applying to even industrial jobs. I wanted to later on pursue a career in academia. So, what I would like to say is that when you are a student, these are the things that I did, and I want to share with you guys. Like as an undergrad student, what are the challenges young women can face, and how they can overcome them. The first thing is that, like I said, we have this feeling that we are a minor. Um, today's woman in engineering do not feel that. When I went to academia and started as a lecturer in IUB, believe me, when I saw the students and the number of female students I had, they were more than 40%. There were more than 40% students female in triple E. So I was very happy with the fact that at least girls today are feeling that they belong here. They're not outside.
So what I would like to suggest young women is that if you feel any way that you are being bullied, if you feel any way that you are not belonging here, talk to your other peers, talk to your seniors, talk to other women that have reached a certain position, talk to them and feel how you can overcome these problems. Explore what they have to say. So the first key to overcoming all these is network. The second thing is that a lot of girls feel that um, technology is a man's thing. Like boys are inherently designed to build blocks. This is not true. If you want to be a successful engineer or if you want to be a successful girl in STEM, you have to overcome that. You have to start getting involved with projects at a very young age. Projects that like Lego projects. Don't start playing like the girls today. They start playing games. They know how to, they learn coding. They do a lot of things. So get involved in small projects. When I was in my fourth year undergrad in AIUB, um, research was not a very open thing. Okay. Some of the really good faculty members published a lot of papers. Some of the lecturers tried to publish papers, but fourth year students and undergrad students they didn't know much about research. So what I tried to do was, since I was a bioinstrumentation major, I tried to build small prototypes, like for example a health monitoring system, something that was already designed. I tried to build it again. Like one of my smallest projects where I think I remember was just building a temperature sensor, a digital temperature sensor. I used just built it, and that really paid off. That little small project really paid off in my higher studies. So believe it or not, I'll discuss that later. And if you want to be having a career in research, if you want to be having a career in STEM or engineering, and you need to have not only a bachelor's degree, you definitely need to have a higher degree than a bachelor's degree. Either a master, if you want, you can further go on doing a PhD. That's different, but I think most most research and STEM oriented fields they require a minimum masters. Okay. So I think you need to do your research from before, like what are the elements that I need to get an admission for higher studies. What are the things that I need to do? Like, do I need to give a TOEFL? Do I need to give an IELTS? Do I need to give anything else, like a GMAT or anything, if I want to do an MBA or something? Try and be prepared for a higher studies if you want. As I said, that a degree never goes on waste. If it's an MBA, whether it's a master's, whether it's an MH, it never goes on waste. Believe me, you will get you. It will eventually pay off. So be prepared for getting a higher degree in most STEM fields. So, life for me as a woman in research, I would like to definitely share what I have done, what has brought me to become a woman in research. Like I said before, these are the things that I went through and I
to
to
various
various universities.
universities.
Like,
But
but
when
when
I
I
started
started
to
to
apply
apply
to
to
various
various universities,
universities, I
I
do
do
know
know
the
the
society
society
in
in
our
our
country
country
that
that
accept
accept
or
or
that
that
inspire
inspire
or
or
encourage
encourage
young
young
girls
girls
in
in
higher
higher
studies,
studies,
especially
especially
abroad,
abroad,
is
is
very,
very,
very
very
low.
low.
The
The
chances
chances
of
of
you
you
getting
getting
encouraged
encouraged
to
to
do
do
a
a
master's
master's
or
or
even a
even a
PhD
PhD
abroad,
abroad,
and
and
if
if
you
you
are
are
single,
single,
then
then
it
it
is
is
very
very
challenging.
challenging.
Like
Like,
there
there
will
will
be
be
the
the
society,
society,
there
there
will
will
be
be
relatives,
relatives,
there
there
will
will
be
be
people
people
telling
telling
you
you
that
that
why
why
এত
at the
পড়াশোনা
personal
করার কি দরকার, এত
at the
পড়াশোনা
personal
করে কি হবে, এরকম
এরকম
টাইপের
টাইপের
কথা
কথা
অনেকেই
অনেকেই
বলবে,
বলবে
আমাকেও
আমাকেও
বলেছিল।
বলেছিল
সো
সো
it's
ইটস
like
লাইক
you
ইউ
have
হ্যাভ
to
টু
overcome
ওভারকাম
these
দিস
challenges.
চ্যালেঞ্জেস
You
ইউ
have
হ্যাভ
to
টু
do
ডু
your
ইয়োর
job.
জব
People
পিপল
will
উইল
say
সে
anything.
এনিথিং
People will
people
do
will do
anything,
anything
but you
but you
have to
have
do
to do
your
your
job.
job.
This is
This is
what I
what I
tell
tell
all
all
women
women
that
that
want to
want
do
to
a
do a
master's
master's
abroad
abroad
and that
and
are
that are
facing a
facing a
lot
lot
of
of
environmental
environmental
challenges,
challenges,
social
social
challenges,
challenges,
and a
and a
lot
lot
of
of
people
people
saying
saying
that
that
no
no
need
need
to
to
do
do
it.
it.
So
So
I
I
only
only
tell
tell
them
them
that
that
just go
just go
on,
on,
try,
try,
and
and
start
start
applying
applying
beforehand.
beforehand.
Do
Do
not
not
take
take
much
much
time
time
from
from
your
your
undergrad
undergrad
until
until
your
your
master's.
master's.
Don't
Don't
make
make
that
that
gap
gap
too
too
much.
much.
That's what
That's
I
what I
tell
tell
people.
people.
So
So
when I started applying, I am the only child of my parents. They were very possessive about me. They didn't want me to go to a foreign land and
and
study,
study,
like be
be
alone
alone
and
and
study.
study.
They
They
were
were
a
a
bit
bit
concerned, I
concerned, I
would
would
say.
say.
So my
My
father
father
told
told
me
me
that
that
your my
my
aunt
aunt
lives
lives
in
in
Canada,
Canada,
and
she
they
they
told
told
me
me
that
that
if you
if you
have to
have to
go
go
abroad,
abroad,
you
you
have to
have to
manage
manage
your
your
funding
funding
that
that
has
has
that is
that is
close
close
to
to
your
your
family's
family's
surroundings.
surroundings.
Like
Like
your
your
aunt
aunt
lives
lives
in
in
Canada,
Canada,
you
you
have to
have to
find
find
a
a
university
university
that
that
gives
gives
you
you
funding
funding
and that is
and that
close
is
to
close to
your
your
family's
family's
house.
house.
People
People
usually
usually
inspire
inspire
boys
boys
to
to
go to
go
the
to the
highest
highest
ranked
ranked
universities.
universities.
I
I
was
was
given
given
only
only
two
two
options.
options.
I had
I had
two
two
universities
universities
close
close
to
to
my
my
aunt's
aunt's
house.
house.
I
I
did
did
not
not
know
know
at
at
that
that
time
time
whether
whether
আমাকে কি এখানে অ্যাডমিশন দিবে নাকি না সেটাও আমি জানতাম না। So I tried, I wrote my applications, I wrote my letters, I wrote everything, I did everything I could to apply to these universities, and luckily I got funding in both of them. Luckily. তো এইরকম লাক আমার মনে হয় সবার হয় না। আমার বাবা হয়তো বা আমাকে বলেনি যে যেও না। A lot of girls have been told যেও না, don't go. This is the end of your studies. Go and have family, get married. This is a lot of people's life. This is a lot of people's end of the journey. But what my father said was, I was lucky that this is what they told me. So I went on to higher studies. I did a master's. I published quite a few papers during my master's and after my master's. Then I came back home. I served. I decided I will not go back to any industrial jobs. I wanted to go back to, I wanted to come back and join academia. I wanted to serve the country. So I wanted to be a part of, educating young talent. So I came back home. I just joined IUB. And from there onward, I started my research career. And until that, and it's still going on. So life in my research field, as you know, that there are a lot of myths regarding research life, and women in research life, there are a lot of myths. The first thing that they tell is that research careers are usually very, what should I say? Um, is there anyone who has turned on the microphone by any chance? Thank you. Okay. So a research life is very, I think, flexible. A lot of people say that the long said myth is that a research life is very demanding for a girl. It's very hectic. People cannot, and it's very low pay. These are the three things people tell about a research career. What I would like to say is that a research career, until now, I have seen that I can manage my time anytime. I can start my experiments at midnight. I can go on, continue my experiments until morning. I can come home, look after my family in the morning until daytime. A research career is one of the most flexible jobs for a woman, in my point of view. Whether you have the time to accept this or not, that is your maybe your field might be different, but for my field, this is how it works. I have worked really late nights. I have started my work really late, so it depends. People call it very stressful. I call it challenging. I call it interesting, and I love what I do. The most biggest significant challenge that I faced was the recent COVID-19, and I'm glad I could be a part of this research right now. So a lot of people think that this is a low salary job. Imagine the researcher that developed a vaccine. Imagine the salary of that person. What that person could have got, or might have got, or can get if he or she developed a successful vaccine at the moment. So, these myths should be thrown out and put somewhere else. What I have faced after becoming a researcher in this field is that, as I can say that the research career for women is 29% only till date. We see only 1/3 of the population of researchers as women, partly because most researching jobs require a PhD. And I think most women cannot go that far to even do a PhD due to family, due to many obstacles, I believe. So this is why 1/3 of the research fields have women still now. And in top academic positions, you can see the from the engineering department in IUB. I think it's quite vast, but you will see a lot of top professors, but you will hardly see. I think there is only one female professor in our department. I mean, in our school. I think that's Shipra Miss, most probably. Yes, and you can see a lot of male. So the same thing, and only 3% of these are awarded. Only 3% of the researchers are awarded, and they are women. So this is a very underrepresentation of women. So this is a sad fact, but it's true. So, but I can say that women might be 1/5 of the population. Not only I can say, this is statistics actually. They may build up to 1/5 of the population of the research fields, but their scholarly output per researcher is huge. Women can contribute or publish the amount of research work published by one woman, is more than the amount of research work published by men, if we parallelly see the balance. I think women are more multitaskers, so they are able to, get a lot of data and, separately, publish different papers of the same experiment. So I think it's a part of a woman intellect. I think they're able to do a lot of things with a small amount of window. We have statistics like this and this, but we also have statistics and facts like this. For example, the first DNA was won the Nobel Prize of discovery of a DNA structure was by Rosalind Franklin, and she has done a remarkable discovery of humankind. And we also have the first ever twice Nobel Prize winner, Marie Curie, and she alone has won 2 times the Nobel Prize in STEM. So we also have examples like this. I would say to women, young women in STEM, do not follow these statistics. Do not follow the underrepresentation. Do not follow how much of people are like you, or whether you are a minority. Follow these. These are the examples you have to look up to. And if you want, you can look at the negatives and then go back. If you want, you can look at the positives and move forward. It's up to you. It's, after all, your call, your decision. But these are the things that I looked up to and I moved forward. And I am what I am today. So my research so far is like I have published quite a few journals, and I would really like to thank IEEE department for many of my publications, for funding a lot of my publications. And there is one name that I would really like to acknowledge during my research career was that I would like to acknowledge Dr. Shaya Khan Sir. He was the ex-dean of School of Engineering. So we collaboratively published a lot of papers together. He really helped me and directed me to how to write papers, how to present, a lot of data. So I acknowledge a lot of people in my life. So one of them is him. The secondly, I would like to really acknowledge is in my research career is Dr. Rajak sir. Whenever I went to him, I told him I need this amount of funding to carry out this particular research. He always somehow managed the funding and gave me the particular funds required for my research and for the students' research. So I really, really appreciate the sort of a department that encourages research intensive uh, support. So if I was lucky to get this sort of, support. Not all girls are lucky to get this sort of support. Definitely not all. So thank you so much for my research so far. And so I would like to present my research that I have done recently as a PhD student. So I believe that COVID-19 and research goes parallelly together. The world has come to a stop. A lot of things have come to a stop. A lot of professionals have become locked within the surroundings of the wall of four walls. But researchers are still in the lab. They're still researching. Nothing has stopped for them. Okay. So for me, I think COVID-19, a lot of people have negative impacts. A lot of people say that life has become different, life has become hectic, the life has stopped. For me, COVID-19 started in January, and I was in the beginning of a particular research. And somehow my professor wanted my thought that the research that I was developing, like the nanotechnology that I had synthesized, could be added with the virus or could be used to detect the virus. So that is how I went on. And I would like to share my story about COVID-19. A lot of people, a lot of women say that their family is very important. Okay, they need to take a break for this particular time. I'm generally discussing some of my students, not all of them. It's from their feedback. Like they told me that ভাইয়ের বিয়ে, এই জন্য এই পেপারটা আমি পাবলিশ করতে পারিনি, ম্যাম এটা আমি পরে করবো, বা আমি কুইজটা দিতে পারবো না, আমার বোনের বিয়ে। আমি যেটা বলতে চাই যে COVID-19 I was supposed to do a research. So suddenly, this is very personal, but I would like to share it. Suddenly I had to go back to my country. I had to get married. So in the middle of this COVID-19 research, I went back. I was in quarantine for 14 days. I came back. I was in quarantine for 14 days. But the research continued. The lab continued, nothing stopped. Nothing in my career stopped for a big event in my life. So what I would like to say to STEM girls or young girls listening to me is that your career will not stop. Do not allow your personal life to bring in a stoppage or a gap in your career just because of a particular thing that happened. ওকে, হ্যাঁ আমি হয়তো বা আমার লাইফে আমি যেরকম টাইপের ইভেন্ট চেয়েছিলাম, আমার ওয়েডিং যেভাবে চেয়েছিলাম সেভাবে আমি অর্গানাইজ করতে পারিনি, মেবি I didn't have time to do the shopping. I was too busy in my career. I was too busy in the lab that when I bought my wedding dress, that was just before the flight. So but আমি এটাই বলতে চাই, মেবি আমার লাইফের অনেক ইভেন্ট আমি ওইভাবে করতে পারিনি যেভাবে আমার প্ল্যান করা দরকার ছিল, বাট আমার অনেকগুলি পাবলিকেশন আছে COVID-19 এর উপরে, ইনশাল্লাহ হবে। So I don't think you have to prioritize what you want to do in your life. You have to give a balance. একদিক তোমার জিরো করলে হবে না, তোমার সবকিছুই মানে you have to make things go parallelly. Okay, you have to have a publication. I had to have a publication. I had to do a personal event in my life. So everything went smoothly, and alhamdulillah, everything went parallelly. I got married. I came here. I gave my exams for my coursework. Even on the day after my wedding, I think I gave an online quiz. So things went parallelly. Nothing stops. Don't let anything stop. The day you make an excuse in your career, is the day, and you give importance to something very personal, is the day you stop, prioritizing your career. I didn't do it, alhamdulillah, because of the support that I got from my parents, the support that I got from my husband, the top support that I got from my relatives. I was able to do it. Not everyone is that lucky, I would say. But things went parallelly, things went smoothly and successfully, alhamdulillah. So during COVID-19, I went to the lab, I published something. But during COVID-19, I also saw a lot of drastic changes in women in STEM. A lot of male faculties published a lot of papers. Women sat home because they had younger children. They could not go to the lab. They could not prioritize research over their kids, over their well-being. Men could separate themselves from the family, but women could not. However, I went to the lab. Most male researchers, what they had to do was they had someone to already look after their family, and they would completely be, isolated from everyone and do their research. That's how they did COVID-19 research. I also did that, but somehow I did not have to isolate myself like that, but that's how I also carried on my research. So unfortunately, even after so much struggles, I saw that only 1 in 3 researchers were women. And this is a very sad fact, that senior researchers who were women stepped back from research because of their health issues. And this is also true that COVID-19 has pushed the woman labor, or has pushed the woman workforce so low that it has never been seen as this low in decades, ever. And to go up to back to that labor force the woman had, I don't think it's possible, even in the few generations later. So there are drastic changes in the woman in STEM due to COVID-19, and it has happened. So a few things about my research was that my faculty told me that people are publishing a lot of things. Why don't you try your research on COVID-19? So in the middle of a lot of problems, there will always be an opportunity for researchers to grow. If there are no problems, we do not need engineers. We do not need STEM people, and we do not need any problem solving, right? Because we have problems in our lives, because problems are coming, like COVID-19, that is why we are employed, right? যেদিন প্রবলেম বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে সেদিন আমাদের এমপ্লয়মেন্টও বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে, ইঞ্জিনিয়ারদের এমপ্লয়মেন্ট বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে, সেদিন স্টেম ওয়ার্কারদের এমপ্লয়মেন্ট বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে, বিকজ লাইফ ইজ রানিং স্মুথলি। সো যেটা আমি বলবো যে আমার রিসার্চ ছিল হচ্ছে আই ইউজড nanotechnology for the detection of coronavirus, আর এটা নিয়ে আমি একটু ডিসকাস করবো, আমাকে বলা হয়েছে একটু বলতে, সো আমি একটু বলবো। সেটা হচ্ছে ন্যানোটেকনোলজি অ্যাকচুয়ালি কি সেটা আমি প্রথমে বলি। As we know, there's a huge difference between normal scale and nanoscale. Nanoscale সবকিছু একটু ডিফারেন্ট ভাবে it interacts. Like for example, gravity and weight are no longer taken into account. Different forces are not anymore taken into account. So there are also differences in colors. The major difference in nanoscale of a particular sample is that আপনার কালারটা টোটালি চেঞ্জ হবে, ভাইব্রেট হবে। আপনার সাইজের অনুযায়ী যতখানি সাইজ হবে আপনার ক্রিস্টালের, ন্যানো ক্রিস্টালের সেটার কালার সেভাবে চেঞ্জ হবে। যেরকম ফর এক্সাম্পল গোল্ড ন্যানো পার্টিকেল এবং নর্মাল মেটাল গোল্ড অনেক ডিফারেন্স আছে। গোল্ড ন্যানো পার্টিকেল কিন্তু ঝিলিক দেয় না, ইট ডাজন্ট হ্যাভ দ্যাট শাইনি টেক্সচার। বাট যেটা নর্মাল গোল সেটা কিন্তু আপনার ঝিলিক দেয়। তো এটা অনেক মেটালের ক্ষেত্রে যারা নর্মালি কালার দেয় না তারা কিন্তু ন্যানো স্কেলে ডিফারেন্ট কালার দেয়, আর ডিফারেন্ট পার্টিকুলার সাথে তারা ইন্টারাক্ট করলে আরো ডিফারেন্ট কালার দিবে। Since we need something, since color is the best identification for human beings in naked eye, আমরা এই জন্য ন্যানো স্কেলকে ইউজ করছি to detect viruses and COVID-19 here. So আমাদের একটা we had a different collaboration with different organizations in China and certain organizations that develop kits in USA. So with their collaboration, we finally developed, I synthesized my nanoparticles and nanotechnology. I synthesized it. I tried attaching it with the COVID viruses, and then I tried to see what is the change between a normal nano scale or nanoparticle and the ones that are attached to the virus. They bring huge changes. আমি যেটা বললাম যে কালারের উপরে অনেক চেঞ্জ আসে যেটা আপনি নেকেড আইয়ে দেখতে পারবেন, আর যদি আপনার ভাইরাস অ্যাটাচ করে ন্যানো টেকনোলজির সাথে এটা অন্য একটা কালার দিবে। তো যেটা আমি দেখলাম সেটা হচ্ছে এটা আমার সিনথেসাইজড করা ন্যানো টেকনোলজি, আর যখন আমি এটা ভাইরাসের সাথে অ্যাটাচ করছি তখন এটা কালারটা একটু চেঞ্জ হয়েছে। আগে এটা খুবই ভাইব্রেন্ট একটা কালার দিছিল, যেরকম ফর এক্সাম্পল ভাইব্রেন্ট অরেঞ্জ এখানে দেখা যাচ্ছে, ইউভি লাইট দিলে ভাইব্রেন্ট অরেঞ্জ দিবে আমার সিনথেসাইজ করা ন্যানো পার্টিকেল। When it is attached with the COVID-19 virus, it is giving a lower color. Okay, লোয়ার কালার যখন দিচ্ছে তখনই আমি বুঝে গেছি এটা মানে ভাইরাস আসে স্যাম্পলে, দেখে এটা একটা কালার ডিফারেন্ট দিচ্ছে। আমি এটা যখন অন্য কোনো ভাইরাসের সাথে অ্যাটাচ করতেছি ওটা অ্যাটাচ হবে না সেম কালারটা। there is no when there is a difference in color তখনই আমি বুঝতেছি COVID-19 আসে। যখন আমি দেখতেছি যে কোনো কালার চেঞ্জ হচ্ছে না, অন্য কোনো ভাইরাস প্রেজেন্ট থাকতে পারে বাট COVID-19 নাই, ঠিক আছে? এটাই আমরা প্রেজেন্ট করছি in a paper for IEEE, and then later it will be published in Explore. So this was my small contribution from coming from Bangladesh, coming from AIUB, coming from a small country, and being a girl, my small contribution towards COVID-19 research. আর এটাই আমি পাবলিশ করেছি। আমি আলহামদুলিল্লাহ I am in, even when the places stopped, when research for a lot of laboratories stopped, me being a first year student, I published a paper. So that was a huge thing for me. I went back to my country, I got married, I gave my exams, I published a paper. I don't think COVID-19 has got any impact on me, rather it has brought up a lot of beautiful things in my life. সবকিছুর একটা ভালো দিক আসে, আমি মনে করি যে ভালো দিকটা নিয়ে কথা বলা উচিত, এটাই। So how I inspire women in STEM is that the recommendations that I would give to young girls is that children should be, ছোটবেলা থেকে আমরা কেন এটা আলাদা করে দেই যে একটা ছেলে লেগো দিয়ে খেলবে, বিল্ডিং ব্লকস দিয়ে খেলবে, একটা মেয়ে পুতুল দিয়ে খেলবে, দুইজনই কেন বিল্ডিং ব্লকস দিয়ে খেলতে পারবে না? ছোটবেলা থেকে আমাদের ইন্সপায়ার করা উচিত এটা। I think the highlight of my struggle, the highlight of different women's struggle should be told to young girls so that they come up আইসে ধাক্কা খাবে না। যেরকম আমি ফার্স্ট ইয়ার ঢুকে ধাক্কা খাইছি, that my whole family everyone was in STEM, আমার কেন এরকম মাইনরিটি হতে হচ্ছে? But you have to tell her that she is a minority, she will face struggles, এটা তাকে প্রিপেয়ার করে প্রথম করে দিতে হবে। তারপর তার রোল মডেলকে দেখাতে হবে, যেরকম আমাদের অনেকগুলি রোল মডেল আছে, যেরকম ম্যারি কুরি আমি বললাম, ওদের সাথে ইন্ট্রোডিউস করানো আমাদের কাজ। মানে we have to make sessions, so sessions like this I think IEEE has done a really good job যাতে মানুষজন ইন্সপায়ার হয়। And I think one of the biggest things that departments should do, IUB has done, IUB has a different quota for girls. So I think a lot of universities should start setting up quotas for women in engineering, STEM related studies, like there should be a quota system for women, যাতে মানুষ মেয়েরা আসে এই কয়টা সিট তাদের জন্য করা আছে, তারা এখানেই মহিলাদেরকেই ঢুকতে দেওয়া হবে, এরকম টাইপের একটা সিস্টেম যদি হয় তাহলে ভালো হয়। যেরকম ফর এক্সাম্পল আমার প্রফেসর, he hires he has been recruiting a lot of girls at the moment because তার ল্যাবে সে দেখতেছে ছেলেতে ভরে যাচ্ছে, like it's becoming a very male dominating lab. তারপর he has started and I will start now hiring girls, so এই জিনিসটা তাদের করা উচিত। And I think we need to redesign our hiring processes. Even in Bangladesh, in many countries, we need to have a gender balanced and gender unbiased culture in engineering, in STEM, during the hiring processes. হায়ারিং প্রসেসে আমাদের আমি যখন একাডেমিয়াতে গেছি, একাডেমিয়াতে খুব কম দেখা যায় দে আর জেন্ডার ব্যালেন্সড এভরিওয়্যার, বাট আমি যেটা বলবো ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে মেয়েদেরকে খুবই কম দেখা হয়, খুবই কম। আইদার কিছু কিছু অ্যাপ্লিকেশন বাই ডিফল্ট তারা মানে সেপারেট করে দেয়, দে জাস্ট ওয়ান্ট টু হায়ার গাইজ ফর ফিল্ড ওয়ার্ক। I do not know what the case is, but somehow it's very gender imbalanced. So etai ami bolbo that these are the things that I believe that women should be inspired by. So that is all for today. I have shared my research and I have shared my journey with you guys. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope that I have somehow put forward a message for young girls out there. I would really like to thank IEEE Women section, Women in Engineering section. I would really like to thank my wonderful colleague, Nana Miss, who has put forward this webinar series. And I'm sure, I know a lot of women she's going to bring in a lot of talented women in the future who I know are going to join in later in this session. So thank you for bringing a platform for women where they can share their journey to their male counterparts, to the young women that are already in the process of becoming a STEM researcher. So এটা আমি বলতে চাই that this is a platform to hear our voice, যেখানে ছেলেরা আমাদের কথা শুনতে পারবে, ইয়াং মেয়েরা আমাদের কথা শুনতে পারবে, সবাই যাতে বুঝতে পারে that there is a struggle and it must be changed. There is scope for improvement and inshallah things will develop. Things have developed. আমি যখন ছিলাম তখন থেকে এখন things have developed a lot. When I was an undergrad student and when I'm a PhD student, the things have massively developed. STEM has improved, has invited a lot of women, and it will continue to invite a lot of women in this field. Thank you so much for your valuable time. I hope you enjoyed it. And if there is floor for question answer, anyone can ask me anything. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. This was a lovely experience for us as well. We have learned a lot. You have inspired us a lot. So thank you so much. And we can't wait to have you among us in IUB. We hope it's soon. And now I request our branch counselor, Dr. Mahinoor sir, to give ma'am the presentation.
So Ms. Kazi Naziba Tahsin, thank you for your nice presentation on the webinar series of women in STEM. So this is a small token of appreciation on behalf of IEEE Student Branch, IEEE Engineering IUB Affinity Group. Thank you very much for being with us and supporting us.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure to meet you in my journey, and you have inspired us all. So getting a token from you is really, what should I say, prestigious.
Yes, I'm also excited to see you after a long time. I hope you are doing well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. you, Anisha.
Thank you, Kafi sir. Thank you, Naziba miss. And Shaila Ishrat miss is also there. She is saying she liked the program. And thank you, miss, for joining with us. And now I'd like to request our WI advisor, Nana miss, to say something for everyone.
Thank you very much, Anisha, for giving me the floor. Good afternoon to all our honorable participants, respected faculty members, and my dear students. First of all, I would like to thank our speaker, Ms. Naziba Tahsin, for giving her valuable time for us and sharing her journey with us. I'm sure it will encourage our young students to contribute in the various fields of STEM and overcome their limitations. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I also wish to express my gratitude to our branch counselor, Dr. Kafi Islam, and our mentor, Dr. Abdul Razak sir, for their continuous support for our event. Thank you, Kafi Islam sir, for being with us here today. Also, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the guests and participants present today, including the honorable faculty members from various departments of IUB. Thank you, Mr. Mohammad Aminul Karim sir, Ms. Azmeri, Ms. Shaila Ishad, and Ms. Rabia Hawk for joining with us today. I extend my big thanks to the members of IEEE IUB Student Branch and WIE Affinity Group for making all the necessary arrangements for today's event. Once again, I thank all of you for being here with us today. Please take your time to provide us the feedback. A link of the feedback form is given in the chat box. Thank you.
I also want to request Professor Aminu sir, if you have something to say, sir, please.
Thank you very much. This is not my platform to talk actually. This is absolutely great to me. But only thing I can say, this is a good initiative by our students, and I'm very proud to see my very bright students. And I can't imagine our student is doing PhD in a Canadian university. Let me say that my son also did his triple E from AIUB. Now he is working in the University of Liverpool as an assistant professor in Tripoli. Actually, he has done a project on cancer, and now he's doing a project on some ventilator designing or something like that. His name is Nisar, Professor Dr. Nisar Karim. He did his PhD from University of Malaya, where I was a professor there as well. And from Nagoya University, Japan, he did his postdoc. And then he went to another university in UK. And from there, he has just moved to Liverpool University. And Naziba, Tahsin, your wonderful, I would say, presentation you have made. If you can connect with him, I think we can work together because you are going in the same field. The only point I would like to say about Bangladesh is that we are lacking far behind in STEM. I don't know why people are very much interested to study MBA and BBA and easy subjects, not science. And what it stands for T, technology, then engineering and mathematics. My daughter has done a master's in mathematics, and she's teaching mathematics in Canada. She did her undergrad from University of Malaya and postgrad from Waterloo University in Canada. She lives there, and she's now teaching mathematics to her students. So, I'm totally a sort of arts and humanities fellow, but my only son and my only daughter, they are in mathematics and engineering. So I have a sort of weakness for this engineering students and faculties and departments. And Bangladesh should come forward in STEM. This is a crying need of the hour, and I would request all the students at the secondary level to study more on STEM. But that's the way forward. Otherwise, you cannot compete in the world. Mere doing MBA and BBA cannot really help you, or philosophy, or anthropology, or sociology, and law, and others. STEM is a big. There's a big gap in our system, and I would encourage our students to join in STEM much more. Thank you very much for an excellent presentation, excellent, I would say, arrangement initiative. I must thank Dr. Kafiul Islam and a distinguished faculty of our university and all the organizers, Dr. Naina, am I correct? And Anisha, I think I know you. I think I've met you a couple of times, many times. And others also. Thank you very much. Well done. Keep it up, please.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
sir.
for your inspiring words. Thank you.